Alright guys, it's Dokkan time again, and today we're going to be going over the Crimson Mass Saiyan Super Saiyan 3 Rosé. So this guy's how to build is a little bit difficult. He's a very good unit, but he's also kind of a questionable unit. It really depends. I would have to say this is one of those times where it really depends on your play style of the game more so than how you should actually build the unit. Um, so my suggestion to players is that they really think about how they play the game, and then go ahead and step forward into how you're going to build this unit. Not don't build it how you think it should be built. Build it how you play, 'cause that's how it's gonna go. So he is a Dragon Ball Hero Super Saiyan 3 and Transformation Boost leader, 170. 200% for any of them that are on crossovers. He does stack attack, so that is something to keep in mind if that's part of your playstyle. And he does raise his defense for the turn. Both of those are 30%. He has Ki plus 3, attack and defense 180. He has attack and defense 150 when attacking, so he gets a large portion of his defense on super. So he's not necessarily a slot 1 unit, even though he does guard. He has a 50% chance to guard and just initially without anything else. He does plus an additional defense plus 100% and guards all attacks when there are 3 or more crossover category allies in the team. So just for like looking at that, let's take a look at the crossover team or units in general. You do have a couple options. So just to keep this in mind, when it says when there are another 3 or more crossover category allies, it doesn't mean he counts. He doesn't count as a crossover unit. So that means your team does have to consist of a total of 4 actual crossover units. You can only have a total of 2, not counting the leader, not counting the friend unit leader as a crossover. So the friend unit will not count on this. As far as your options go for a crossover units that could be a little bit more flexible, you have options like Dark Lord Few. I would say potentially Whis if you want to really go for the collection of orbs, but then you're kind of fighting Fu for orbs. Of course, you can always just rock Vegito. Super Saiyan 4 Limit Breaker Vegito will do very well on that. Although I wouldn't necessarily suggest it, Super Saiyan 4 Broly is a good partner for Rosé. A decent partner, I should say. I mean, if we look at it as... I mean, he's the number 4. He's got 5 links with him, other than himself and these STR roses over here. Aside from that, I mean, it's mostly just supportive units that will probably survive and do okay. I would probably say if you're going to rock like a heroes team, you know, rock Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, rock Rose, rock the physical EZA Super Saiyan 4 Vegito, and then rock like Dark Lord Few and probably Toa. The Intelligence Toa got a reasonably good EZA. And there is other crossover options, you know, such as like Bardox, of course, and possibly anything in the future. But the thing to keep in mind here is, like, he doesn't have big bad bosses. There's not too many things here. Like, if you're going to link him up with even some of the Rosés and Zamasus, you got to understand he's not going to have the big bad bosses linking up, so you kind of want to rock him in slot 3. So it just gets to a weird point, because he only has 1 link that will actually give him any defense. Everything else in here is straight up attack and then a little bit of crit out of godly power. It's all crit. Fear and Faith lowers enemies' defense, but that's it. It's all attack links. So personally, the only reason you really want the crossover allies is for that extra 100% defense. If you do not have that activated, you might be struggling a little bit. Let's go look at the calculations for thanks to Halvard. Let me make sure this is showing up. Yeah, it's showing up pretty well. So if you're not on a full crossover team, like post just a normal super, you're only going to be at 500k defense without any support, without being on a crossover team. So 500k defense, 615 if you're double supering. And this is with rainbow calculation. So if you only got like 1 or 2 Duke, expect this to be near the 400 range. Now with guard, you know, that's not terrible, but it's not amazing either. But you'll probably almost never fight a Goku enemy, so I wouldn't expect that to be popped up. Full crossover team is what you probably want to aim for. And then with a 40% boost after 2 supers, he could get to a very respectable number at 900k. But, I mean, does he have the odds? So let me see here. Let's see here. Launches an additional super that has a great chance of getting super attack when there's an enemy. Yeah. So more than likely, outside of his hidden potential, he's never going to be additional supering, really, in his base state of just Super Saiyan 3. So that's interesting. This state right here is Super Saiyan 3 Rose, and then when he transforms into the next one, it's full power Rose. Very interesting naming choices. But yeah, he only launches an additional super when there's an enemy name that includes Goku. And it has to be straight up Goku. It can't be Captain Ginyu, Goku Black, etc. It has to be Goku. So, with that all in mind, I mean, I'm still not convinced that you should build him AA. And we're going to get into that with his transformation into the full power Rosé right here. So he does raise attack and defense for 1 turn. It's just a standard raise, not greatly. So it's only 30%. He does recover when he transforms. And he recovers 15% every turn afterwards, which is nice. But at the point that he can transform, which I forgot to mention is on turn 5 from the start of battle, it's kind of getting to the late game where that you'll probably hardly ever see that. Key +4 attack and defense 200, plus an additional attack and defense 150. He raises attack and defense up to 150 again. The more HP remaining, the greater the boost. You really want to have that. You really do. He does guard completely. And then the only restriction he has after that is if there is an enemy whose name includes Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, launch an additional super attack with a 70% chance of super. So he has launched an additional attack that has a 50% chance of becoming a super attack now once he's transformed. So he can triple super without fighting a Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan Blue. We'll just say a Super Saiyan Blue. So in a normal fight, he's at most probably going to double super. I would say it's going to be a very rare occasion for him triple supering, unless you go with a full AA build. Now his links don't change, they're all the same. So the only defensive link he has is prepared for battle. And other than himself, once again, his optimal link partners are Broly and, I mean, God Goku, Blue Boys, Blue AGL Boys. I mean, he does link with, like, Zamasu and whatnot because he has godly power, fear, and faith, but he's not giving him big bad bosses, which can be very bad. So, in my opinion, you should build this boy as a 3rd slot unit. Now, that's probably not how people want to run. And I understand that. I understand that you probably wouldn't want to run this guy 3rd slot. You want to keep him on rotation, have fun with him, see his awesome animations, because he looks cool. But let's also look at his defense calculations once he transforms. They're very good. So at full HP, he'll be on just 1 super attack, he's at 800k. On double super, he's at 900k. So he's almost at 1,000,000 defense with guard. Yeah, no, he's sitting fine. He's sitting fine and pretty. I don't think you'll almost ever see triple. I mean, you will if you go full additional. You'll probably see it more often than none. But here's the thing. He doesn't have any built-in crit. He doesn't have attacks effective against all types. I mean, he doesn't have any of that. So, I mean, all these additional supers are great, defensively speaking. But if you really want to see him do any damage, you're going to want to give him some crit. So, this is the part where I come back. We go back to the very beginning here when I started this video, almost 10 minutes ago. And I ask you, how do you want to play this guy? Because you can either, you have your 2 choices. You got your 2 choices. You can either go for a crit and additional build. You can focus on additional, make sure you get in those additionals, and then put the rest into crit so that you can see a good amount of damage coming in. In this instance, you're relying on his guard to save you. You can probably try to force push the 3 dodge in there. You can probably do it. The 3 dodge is always a good option, a good choice. But if there comes a point where he just doesn't additional super at all, like he just doesn't, especially if he's in his base form, if he's just on his Super Saiyan 3 form in this before he transforms into full power, you will probably die. This part of his form is a part where I will just always suggest you run him in slot 3, or you put him in the safest slot for the first turn that he's up, just to try and build up at least once or twice. If you get just one super attack off, I can almost promise you'll probably be around the 8 million attack stat. If you just get one super attack off, he'll probably be around the 8 million attack stat once he actually transforms. If you get 2, you'll probably be bordering 9 to 10. And then if you get 3 super attacks off before he transforms, then he will be in the 10 million attack stat range, which will look very good. So if you can just get a couple supers off before he transforms, he's going to look amazing damage-wise, especially if you got some crit. But as I said, it's waiting till the 5th turn for him to transform, because this is when he's safe. This is when he's 100% safe. It doesn't matter what team he's on. He's going to guard all attacks, and as long as he's additional supering, I mean, he's going to do great. So personally, I'm going to go for this build myself. This is the build I'm going to go with. I'm going to go for a more additional build and then put as much into crit as possible to see the good amount of damage he can output with all these additionals, and not to mention defending very well at the same time. But I can 100% see why some people would like to treat him as just a tank, put him on slot 3, let him dodge, let him get in some additionals, keep his defense up. He's not going to do any damage, really. He'll do some decent damage once he's transformed, but if he's not critting, you're just not going to see any damage in the harder fights because of just how much damage reduction there is. He'll just be there, basically. But he'll be a solid unit. That is one thing I'll say. He'll be a solid defensive tank with this kind of a build. If you go additional and dodge, he will be solid for sure. The problem you run into is like you fight in Zamasu red zone, and you got an AoE coming in, and then he's in trouble. Because before he actually supers, I mean, look at this. 250? I don't give a crap if you have guard. Unless you have 50% damage reduction at the very least, the 250k defense is crap. So he is very much susceptible to an AoE. That is one thing you gotta worry about. But otherwise, he is godly once he transforms, and I just want to personally give him crit, just to take advantage of that. But this is probably the solid, like, most longevity build, with additional and dodge and the guard built in, with hitting 1 million defense from several additionals. The dude he's just never gonna die. Personally, I'll change it later once he eventually falls off, but I'm gonna personally go for the crit and additional build myself. So anyways, guys, I hope that helped you decide how you were going to build this Crimson Mass Saiyan Full Power Super Saiyan 3 Rose. I don't really know how we want to abbreviate his name, but anyways, guys, thanks for watching. I hope you have a good day and a good night.